Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Lucifer Lake of Borden coming back at you with another video. I'm going to make this really quick because it's really late at night and I'm gearing up to go to bed. This video is going out to Viola Bear. She's a commenter. And she commented on my Doug Ducote video, like most people seem to find that one. I did respond to her in the comments, but this actually does deserve a video response. It pertains to Satanism. Viola, I have been in the occult for over 20 years. I have been practicing Satanist for over 10 years. I understand that you don't like the fact that I'm a Satanist, alright, and I thank you for being respectful, but simply studying the Shroud of Turin is not related to Satanism, and I have studied it in any way that I can. It's one of those things that is very interesting, but it pertains nothing to Satanism, and it is just a Christian artifact. For you to sit there and say that I do not understand Satanism is completely ignorant. Please look at my other videos on this channel and you will find that I have quite the grasp on Satanism. She goes off to say she says, by the way, you should seriously study the Shroud of Turin. You obviously do not understand what exactly a Satanist is. A true Satanist believes in human sacrifice. I know this for an absolute fact. We don't do sacrifice lightly, Viola. And before I go any further, just so you understand a few things, hang on. I'm just trying to find a very pertinent thing to this. Okay. In the 11 Satanic Rules of the Earth, this is part of our rules and laws written by Anton LaVey. The 9th and 10th rule is very pertinent to this. It says, the 9th rule is, do not harm little children. The 10th rule is, do not kill non-human animals unless you are attacked or for your food. So that rules out a few interesting things. It rules out some of the sacrifices that we're accused of doing. We're not allowed to hurt children or animals. And just to prove my point, you can actually look it up online, but I'll show it to you right here. This is from Peter Gilmore's The Satanic Scriptures. And right where my finger is, I don't know if you can actually see that or whatnot. Yep. Satanic Scriptures by Peter H. Gilmore, who is the current high priest of the Church of Satan. Now, I did cover those in a different video. What is an actual satanic sacrifice? A satanic sacrifice is the same type of sacrifice that most people would make in a general day. We assess a situation and we decide whether or not something needs to be done to address that situation. Now, that addressing of the situation might be sacrificing something, making a compromise, doing something that we may not really want to do. whenever you go to a store and you buy food, you're parting with money. You're sacrificing a portion of your money to get that food. That's a basic sacrifice that everybody makes in a day. When we do rituals, we perform sacrifices by proxy. We don't go out and kill people or whatnot. We're not going to be stabbing them in the heart with a dagger or anything. We're not cutting out their hearts. If we do any sort of blood sacrifices, it's our own blood or volunteer of our group's blood, and most of the time it's just a little pinprick on the finger. Yeah, it's not really much. It's a token sacrifice. Nothing more than what Wicca would do either. If it's anything more serious than that, then again, it's all voluntary. We're not kidnapping kids off the streets and cutting out their hearts or whatnot. So, for a person, any person, to sit there and say what Viola said is a demonstration of complete ignorance. This isn't the Satanic Panic era. We know that, I know that there are people who want to continue the whole Satanic Panic thing, trying to run around and say that there are Satanists that do that sort of thing. Let me first clarify a few things. There was some groups out there that one of them is still around, but they're all but defunct. And there were some groups that did have a more extreme rhetoric than proper satanic organizations. Now, these groups, the big one was Order of the Nine Angles. They're defunct. Another one that was running around over a smaller group over in Britain was Friends of Hecate. This was years and years and years ago. And they're all in jail now. They got arrested. They controlled a small town, and they were doing some pretty shady stuff. And just like any cult, cops went in, broke them up, and arrested the majority of them. Most of them, the ones that were actually doing stuff in the group, is in jail. They are in jail. Hang on a moment. My apologies. My puppy was ripping up the carpet. Alright. So, Friends of Hecate, all in jail. Order of Nine Angles, all but defunct. I think grand total, there may be less than 10 members of that group globally. Yeah. I mean, I have seen some potential activity from Order of the Nine Angles, but for the most part, they're nothing. They're nothing. Real satanic groups aren't going to hurt anyone. The true above board, above ground groups, above ground individuals, we don't hurt anybody. So to sit there and say that I don't understand my religion, Viola, with all due respect, you're showing some stupidity there. You're showing some serious ignorance. Please do your homework, like legit homework, before opening your mouth. I mean, the easiest thing you can do to study and understand what our religion is about is to simply pick up this book and read it. This is our core founding rule book, the Satanic Bible, by that man, Anton LaVey. The book was published in 1969. Church of Satan was founded in 1966. It's that simple. I am a classical LaVeyan, so much of what's written here pertains to me. It is rules and whatnot that were written originally before the 74-75 schism of the Church of Satan. So, before their restructuring, it was written long before the whole atheist thing that Peter Gilmore is espousing. Um, because I'm not an atheist. I am a Satanist. I am a classical Levian. You know, and we don't hurt no one. Real Satanists, the true Satanists, don't. They don't hurt anyone. The ones who take it the complete wrong way, the individual ones who don't understand what they're reading, or they read some of the crap out by order of the nine angles, which they have a metric ton of stuff out. They take it very differently. Order of the Nine Angles was founded by David Miot way back in the 70s as a more extremist version of Satanism. He was trying to market it to British skinheads back in the 70s. As you may or may not know, skinheads in Britain and certain gangs in Britain were ultra violent. The movie Clockwork Orange actually depicts those groups back then very accurately on just their mentality and how ultra violent they were. So David Miot, under the pseudonym of Anton Long, created his version of Satanism and called it Order of the Nine Angles. It was a super harsh, ultra violent version of Satanism that was a mockery of Anton LaVey's Satanism, thus the name Anton Long. In the Order of Nine Angles, contrary to LaVeyan Satanism. In LaVeyan Satanism, we try to put our Baphomet as close to, if not directly, facing west. Alright? In Order of the Nine Angles, they do it the exact opposite. They do it facing east. A lot of the stuff is a complete flip-flop of LaVey's Satanism. They have a rule rhetoric of well over 20, almost 30 separate rules. And it's really ridiculous. So that's that. There is a lot more to be said about sacrifice in Satanism. Do sacrifices occur? Yes, they do. They have to. If you're going to be putting out any sort of energy into the universe, you need to be willing to sacrifice something. And be it just simply your time to do it, or a picture of a target. If you want to really make it personal, get a piece of hair, fingernail trimmings, or blood from the person you are targeting if you're trying to curse them. And that way you're doing your sacrifice by proxy. You're letting the curse do its work. Similarly, you don't need to do sacrifices or be super violent and whatnot to conjure up demons. What is a demon? Well, that's a subject for a different video, but in a nutshell, demons do exist. Yes, they do. They are non-human spirits, but they are also an externalization of your own inner desires. When I say that, I mean that exactly. They come from you. You can create your own demons. In many instances during ritual, you can sense something being externalized from your own body, and it takes corporeal form or semi-corporeal form. You can feel it in the room with you, and you may be able to converse with it as a separate entity. LaVey spoke about this briefly. It doesn't mean that it's not real. It doesn't mean that it's not there. It just means that it's an act. It's something that came from you. In a lot of ways, that's how we view God and the devil. that man created God. He created the devil. They are extensions of him, through all of his stories and rhetoric and whatnot, and his faith and belief in the beings known as God and Satan. They have created them and made them manifest real as their own anthropomorphic beings. That is the bare bones basics of how I view Satanism and how I believe in real God and devil. But that's the truth. The same goes for sacrifices. Is we don't need to get all super violent or super hostile. We don't need to go cutting the heads off of chickens or stabbing virgins in the heart to perform a sacrifice. There is such thing as a virgin sacrifice, and again, it's a total volunteer thing. A person, generally a girl, um, has maintained herself where nothing has ever entered there, and she still is hymenated. She can offer herself in a ritual as a virgin sacrifice. And what that entails is, as you can imagine, a little bit of fun time during the ritual where either the high priest or a member of the group will deflower her ritualistically. She's not killed, she's not really harmed or whatnot. It's just a very interesting way that she can say that she lost her virginity under her own choosing. And that is the virgin sacrifice. Now you got to remember, every coven, every group, and whatnot will have their own unique rituals and processes of doing these sorts of things. This goes for Wicca as well as Satanism, as well as any other occult craft or religious sect. They will have their own ceremonies and rituals. So it's all different. And yeah, we do have sacrifices. Most of the time, it doesn't hurt anyone. The worst that I've ever seen it was a little cut on the leg or on the chest. Very cut, small cut. Didn't even need stitches, just slap a band-aid over it. You can also make a cut right here on the hand. Most people, you see in movies where people grab a knife and they slice like this. We don't actually do that. If we're doing anything, it's just a little cut on the hand for something more. Immediately afterwards, it's cleaned up, it's wrapped up, and bandaged up, and it's never so deep that stitches are required. That is a blood sacrifice. At no time do we ever hurt an animal. I actually do describe, there are groups that will commit animal sacrifices, and in my book, The Satanic Testament, I actually cover the topics of sex and Satanism as well as animal sacrifices and the bare bones basics. I actually give a process on how to humanely perform an animal sacrifice. Yes, I said actually humanely. Go read my book and you'll understand that the animal is sedated. He's not allowed to suffer. People are actually involved in the sacrifice, have been taking care and tending to him and actually growing a very close personal attachment. That's another very important thing. If you're going to do a sacrifice, you better have a very close, hard attachment to it. Because if you're going to be sacrificing it, it can't be easy to do it. It has to hurt. You can't want to do a sacrifice of a serious nature and not have it hurt, because then it's a pointless sacrifice. And that's why I say most of our real legit sacrifices are our day-to-day, happen in our day-to-day lives. We don't do them in ritual. We do them out of instances that we may not be foreseeing getting into or whatnot. Just like a man who ends up going to jail for something that's completely ridiculous. He can choose to fight it and possibly face years in prison, or to suck it up and sacrifice his ego and his morals. Well, not his morals, but sacrifice his ego and whatnot and make a plea deal and get out in 6 months. He takes a hit in order to get home to his family. Or he can let his pride and his ego get the better of him and try to fight it. He sits for a year in jail just trying to get to trial, and then he runs a serious chance of losing the trial and facing even more years in jail. I was actually in that exact situation once, and I sucked it up and I sacrificed my pride. I sacrificed my clean record, my good name, in order to get home to my family. That is a true satanic sacrifice. Down the line, I can clean my record. Anyways, this is Lucifer Legaborden coming back at you with another video. If you're liking what you're hearing, liking what you're seeing, and whatnot, leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that bell notification, that way you know whenever I'm putting up another video. As I said, this is Lucifer Legaborden. If you're curious about this, go study it up. Read the Satanic Bible before making silly comments like this, Viola. I'm out of here.